the nature of your emergency?
Welcome back to the Tactical Living Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Wilton, joined by Sergeant Wilton. Clint, how are you?
I'm good.
I just yawned and it clogged my ears, and I'm having a hard time hearing myself talk right now.
I hate it when that happens.
I've had a sleepy, slow start to our morning today.
Yeah.
I laid back down on the couch, and we have a Pomsky named Bureau, and there is something so special about her. You cannot cry to a movie without her coming up to you instantly and consoling you. And I had fallen asleep, and out of nowhere, she jumps up out of the chair and jumps right up next to me to cuddle and lay next to me and kiss me. And I think I was having a bad dream, and she just wanted to make me feel better.
Yeah, she was definitely an emotional support dog during that moment. And it's so cool, like especially like recognizing that in animals, because they just have an intuition about them. It's just amazing.
Yeah, but with her, there's something very unique. I have never seen a dog do what she just naturally knows how to do. It's amazing. I was thinking a lot this week because I had a friend reach out to me, and we talk all the time. And he is going through one of the most difficult stages in his life. And he's telling me all these things that happened throughout his day. And I couldn't help but think to myself, this is truly what I believe, looking from the outside, one of the most difficult days that I think he's ever had. And I had asked him, are you going to be able to go home? And he tells me no, and he had other things to do, and he wasn't going to go home until maybe 9 o'clock that night. And it had me thinking about, for first responders in particular, but for all of us, how it could be so difficult to admit that I can't do this, or I can't do this right now.
Yeah, it's because in my mind, it's like you're conceding control to, you don't have control over that situation, especially when you're being enveloped by a lot of negative things happening to you, especially in one day. It just starts stacking up more and more, and it starts becoming very pressurized for you, and you don't know how much you can take.
And going along those lines, it's really interesting because there's so much that we can take. And, you know, working in a demanding career especially, you feel the need to show up and wear that cape and be everything to everybody all of the time, and then go home and do the same thing over again. And it's wild because you keep stacking these things one on top of the other. And it usually leads to burnout if you don't recognize when it's happening and then do things to be able to regulate not only things emotionally, but also physically. We just had this discussion with our best friends yesterday.
Yeah, it's something when you don't take time for yourself to take care of yourself and to rest and to fuel yourself. You start getting into where your tank's empty, and how can someone expect you, or how can you expect yourself to show up for everybody else when you can't even show up for yourself?
I think when you're a police officer too, a lot of the times you might see something like emotional numbness. So let's say that there's calls or certain types of calls that perhaps they stirred things like compassion, and now they feel super routine, and they actually leave you detached from others and from yourself.
Yeah, you start just kind of going through the motions, and you're not showing up as your full and present self as you traditionally would.
I see a lot of irritability and then like short-term tempers, in particular when people go home. Something like a really small frustration might turn into a super big argument, and it could spill over into your spouse or into your kids.
Yeah, and also like one thing that I've noticed, like especially seeing it with some of the guys that work for me, or seeing it, you know, just inherently throughout the years, is you start seeing you're not prioritizing your sleep. You're having that like work-life balance, and you don't sleep good, and you're not getting that rest, like true rest that you really need.
Going along the lines of sleep, a lot of the times you'll have chronic fatigue despite enough sleep, and it could be to where no amount of rest actually feels like it's recharging your body or your mind.
Yeah, that's something that like it's a horrible feeling. I think any of us who've been there, you feel so unmotivated, unrested to be able to accomplish anything throughout the day.
Yeah, and I think too that what once felt like a calling, a lot of the times it could just feel like another grind that you're just trying to survive.
Yeah, you're if you're going through the motions on that day in, day out type situation, like I look at it through this year, and it's not that I was burnt out, that I was going through anything with it, but having the hours, working the graveyard hours for me, it was super challenging, super hard, where you don't feel a purpose anymore, I guess.
Yeah, you definitely were burnt out. Everything about you, who you are, who you showed up as a husband, who you showed up as a person in the world, completely changed. Like, I know for sure, having to, despite doing everything that we could to support you, and some people can hack it, right? Some people actually prefer graveyard. But for us, we wake up early naturally. And so everything about that completely poured into the burnout for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely challenging, and it's something that, we recognize, something that we, counteracted to try finding that balance with things. But it's a challenge, and luckily, I'm not on graveyard anymore, and that's been a huge change for everything, especially for my own mental health well-being of it's not a drag going to work every day.
I think there are a lot of ways to be able to combat burnout, regardless of what the reason is that you're experiencing it. And I think one of the most important things is to actually normalize the conversation about, this sucks.
Yeah, and that's just kind of like what, we're talking about right now. It's not comfortable, and it's not something that anyone really ever wants to talk about. And it's so great when you have such a supportive, wife that can stand up and just say, yeah, I'm recognizing this too, to where you can be in that fight together to try to bring you out of it.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned the teamwork element of it, because it's so important to understand that it's not something that you have to go through alone. Even if you are single, there are people that can help to support you through it. And I think too, Clint, you do a great job at building decompression routines, and that helps to be able to leave work at work.
Yeah, that's it. It took practice, it took time, and I think anything that's worthwhile will take practice and time, and being able to have those routines, having those outlets as you're going home to change your mindset from I'm at work to I'm at home is super important.
I heard a female say something that has stuck with me ever since. And she said that people talk about, man, life goes by so fast, right? And she said life only goes by fast like that when you don't have something to look forward to.
Yeah, and that's very true.
Yeah, because think about all the times where, let's say we're going out of the country and we're planning a trip, or, we have something planned with friends, or whatever we have that's outside of the mundane. That's when time slows down, right? Because you're looking forward to it. And then when time slows down, you actually take in life a little bit better.
Yeah, you're able to have those experiences. And I'm really I'm thinking about when we went to the Amazon last year, and it was so exciting because we actually planned that fairly quickly once we decided we wanted to go there. And leading up to it, it was there's this excitement coming up to this. And then when we were there, it didn't feel like it was super rushed. It didn't feel like it was man, where did our vacation go? It actually was, we were able to be in that moment and enjoy every moment of it.
And I also think that going along those same lines, that's why it's so important to invest in life that's beyond whatever it is that you do for work. Things like hobbies, fitness, friendships. I like it when we had things that are planned with our friends, or things that we've been looking forward to getting to do together. We do this weird thing with our friends where we'll have these food tours. We'll find a place and just eat a bunch of stuff. Well, I don't really eat much of it, but I taste a lot of it. And it's just fun to get to experience something like that. So even something as simple as that, I think it's really cool, just because it's another thing to be able to build up to and to look forward to.
Yeah, it gives you something to build up that excitement, to have like you said, something to look forward to, because when you are always trying to re-raise that bar every time and set that expectation, it gives you something to strive for.
I hope you've gotten some value out of today's episode. If you have, do us a favor, drop a review, subscribe down below, and as always, know that I'm sending you a long, tight hug from my home to yours.